5 spine-chilling true stories that reveal the sinister secrets lurking in haunted schools. Ginny stepped back into the crumbling halls of Ridgeview High, a shiver racing down her spine. Shadows stretched and twisted around her, as if the very walls were alive, whispering secrets best left forgotten. The echoes of distant laughter and music tumbled back into her mind, sharp and bittersweet memories of a childhood tangled in confusion and pain. She pulled her jacket tighter, feeling the temperature drop, each breath swirling in thick tendrils of damp air. This wasn't merely a school, it was a tomb for lost souls, and she was right in its claustrophobic grip. Her grandmother had passed, and now Ginny faced clearing out the remnants of a life condensed in this decaying place. Dust motes danced like wraiths in the dim light, revealing years of neglect. The fluorescent bulbs flickered angrily overhead, casting jittery shadows that looked alarmingly like familiar faces. Panic tightened her chest, drawing her deeper into the gloom as she remembered the chilling rumors that buzzed through town. Ridgeview was a school riddled with untold tragedies. Students had vanished without a trace, swallowed by secrets that lingered long after they were gone. Determined to finish her task, she pushed deeper down the forgotten corridors. A chill breeze swept through the hallway, sending old, brittle papers swirling like ghostly hands reaching toward her. She held her breath, hearing whispers soft, frantic voices that faded before she could grasp their words. Each step was met with resistance, like the building itself protesting her presence. She forced herself forward, heart pounding, every thud echoing in the silence, drowning out the memories that clawed at her mind. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Pressing onward, Ginny found a storage closet, its door nearly falling off its hinges. Inside lay the forgotten ghosts of Ridgeview yearbooks, tattered uniforms, broken trophies. But then, her fingers brushed against a solid object hidden in the wall. Curious, she pried it open to reveal an old, moldy journal. The pages were filled with chaotic scrawls that danced menacingly across the yellowed paper. As she read, terror seized her heart. Names she recognized swam into view. Her grandmother, her mother, all tangled in a web of betrayal and despair. The principal, a specter of dread in her memory, seemed to loom larger, threatening to pull her into a past she never wanted to confront. With each flicker of the dying lights, the air thickened. The school's dark energy was pulsating, and it knew she was there, prowling the halls as if they were a living creature ready to consume her. Then she felt its footsteps, slow, deliberate, and drawing nearer. A scream clawed at her throat as cold sweat trickled down her back. The air crackled with tension as the shadows deepened, and the walls echoed with an ominous hum. She scrambled back, grappling with a choice: confront a past steeped in sorrow, or flee into the night, leaving behind the ghosts that haunted these forsaken walls. But something inside her whispered that she was far too entwined now. Ridgeview was alive, and as it opened its maw, ready to swallow her whole, Ginny realized the truth. Some sins could never be buried, and escaping the school would be far more complicated than she had anticipated. The echoes erupted into a cacophony, and she felt the darkness closing in, daring her to uncover what was hidden beneath the pain, a truth that could ultimately cost her everything. Ginny's heart raced as the footsteps grew louder, more defined, echoing in her ears like a drumbeat signaling doom. She had to act, but terror rooted her in place. Her fingers clenched around the journal, splintering the brittle cover as panic surged through her. A shadow darted past the crack in the closet door, plunging her deeper into darkness. She squeezed her eyes shut, shutting out the world and willing the shadows to evaporate. But the footsteps weren't just any footsteps. They carried a weight, a promise of something sinister. As they drew nearer, the unmistakable sound of breathing filled the air, heavy, labored, like the inhale of a predator. Ginny flung the closet door open, her instinct urging her forward. The hallway loomed ahead, swallowed in a cloak of murky darkness. Each step felt like a betrayal, like the school itself was conspiring against her. And that journal, the words had been frantic, warnings scrawled by a desperate hand. She remembered a scribbled line, "Not every spirit is ready to rest." She pushed onward, heart pounding, trying to call upon every ounce of courage she had left. The whispers returned, louder now, snaking around her like cold fingers wrapping tightly around her throat. Names echoed off the walls. The name of her grandmother rose above the rest, a spectral plea that seemed to resonate from the very foundation of the school. Ginny, the voice was weak, a ghostly wail that clawed at her memory. She stumbled, almost falling, but the urgency spurred her forward. This was her chance to uncover the truth, perhaps her only hope of escaping. The gymnasium doors stood ajar, a yawning mouth that beckoned her. She hesitated, a shadow slinking past her in the corner of her eye. It was there, lurking. Not just shadows, but memories animated by desperation. Painted faces on the walls, trophies reflecting light from ghosts long gone. The truth was alive here, and she could almost taste it, salty and metallic. Suddenly, the lights flickered back to life with a flourish that left her momentarily blinded. When her eyes adjusted, the gym was a different world. Student figures lingered in midair, faces masked in sorrow and regret. They hung there, translucent, their eyes pleading for release. "Help us," a voice whispered, a sound that sent a chill coiling through her gut. It was the same voice she had heard before, an echo of anguish. Her grandmother's face flickered among the crowd, lips moving silently beneath a veil of despair. "Get out," another figure hissed, clawing at the air, an urgency that reverberated through her bones. But Ginny didn't want to run. She needed to know. Desperation pulled her deeper into the gym, the haunting presence drifting closer. Digging into her pocket, she pulled out the journal once more, flipping pages frantically. A date caught her eye, a date that matched her mother's time at Ridgeview. What happened on that day? The air grew thick, constricting her throat as she read about a forbidden ceremony, something ceremonial and dark that had ended in tragedy. Suddenly, the laughter transformed into screams, a wave of terror crashing over her. Against the backdrop of chaos, she felt hands cold, clammy hands wrap around her wrists, pulling her deeper into the vortex of despair. "Release us," they cried, the world's weight pressing down on her, testing her resolve. The lights stuttered again, and the gym began to distort, walls closing in, shaking with every heartbeat. The voices rose in a crescendo of fear and anger, wrapping around her like a noose. Could she break the cycle? Or was she destined to join them, an echo lost in the halls of Ridgeview forever? The walls pulsed in rhythm with her racing heart, and just when she thought she could scream, an icy breath brushed her ear, a faint whisper. It's time to choose. Ginny's breath hitched, the choice pressing down like a lead weight. Would she walk away, leaving the ghosts behind? Or plunge deeper into the dark, ready to face the horrors waiting to be uncovered? The ground trembled beneath her feet as she stumbled, and darkness loomed again, ready to drag her into the depths. What awaited her in the shadows beyond? Would Ginny uncover the full story, or would the secrets of Ridgeview consume her as they had so many others? The air buzzed with unanswered questions, each one louder than the last, echoing into the night. The world around Ginny erupted. The once vast gym transformed into a claustrophobic nightmare, the walls closing in, threatening to swallow her whole. Panic clawed at her throat, and she fought to breathe amidst the chaos. Voices merged into a singular, monstrous growl, and the spectral figures began to wail, their faces contorting in anguish. "Don't let them hold you." Her grandmother's voice broke through, desperate and urgent. Ginny's heart snapped into a frantic rhythm. She had to do something. She struggled against the icy grip on her wrists, each shuddering breath filling her lungs with a mix of dread and determination. The journal, clutching it tightly, she held it up as if it were a shield to deflect the anguish swirling around her. "I need to know what happened," she yelled, her voice a small beacon of defiance in the tempest of despair. The air thickened, and the spectral figures swirled around her, their hands clawing at the very fabric of her sanity. "Too late," one hissed, the temperature plummeting. "You must choose, or we will choose for you." The lights flickered again and then died, plunging the gym back into suffocating darkness. The whispers returned, more sinister, sounding like the low hum of a crowd chanting in unison, 1,000 voices bleeding into one. Join us in that moment. Ginny felt a pang of doubt. What did they want from her? She didn't belong here, did she? Her mind raced, shifting through memories of her grandmother's stories, hints of the dark past that lay intertwined with the school. The ceremony, shadows of a betrayal woven through the fabric of time. What had they done to her family? Help us! The cacophony surged, reshaping into a demanding roar. Ginny could almost see the scenes in her mind. Candles flickering in a darkened room, chanting ringing out into the night. Blood on the ancient stones, I need to break this cycle, she whispered, a flicker of conviction igniting in her gut. But how? As if in response, a beam of light suddenly burst forth from the journal's pages. It illuminated the space around her, revealing the torment etched on the spirits' faces, hollow eyes locked on her in shared desperation. The light penetrated the darkness, and she saw something through the haze, a glimmering outline of an old, ornate door at the far end of the gym. Go, they cried, pulling against the invisible barrier binding her to this fate they shared. You're the key. Without thinking, she bolted towards the door, the icy fingers loosening just enough for her to break free. Each step felt crucial, time slipping through her fingers like sand. She could already feel the shadows gathering behind her, angry tendrils clawing at her heels. They wouldn't let her escape that easily. Ginny, you must choose now, her grandmother's ghost urged, her voice blending with the thrumming of the chaos behind her. She reached the door, cold and imposing, the handle shaped like a serpent. In that fleeting moment, she hesitated. What lay behind the door? Was it salvation or the very thing she sought to escape? The shadows lunged, and without a moment to spare, she grasped the handle and flung it open. What met her was an expanse of blinding light, the echoes of tortured souls fading and merging into one last plea. Don't forget us. And as she stepped through the threshold, everything went silent. Where was she now? Had she truly escaped, or was this just another layer of Ridgeview's entrapment? The questions loomed heavy as she stood on the threshold of the unknown, a new dread settling in. What awaited Ginny in this new realm of light? And would she finally uncover the truth behind her family's dark past? Or would the secrets continue to haunt her? The light enveloped Ginny, wrapping around her like a warm blanket, a stark contrast to the icy grasp of the spirits that haunted her moments ago. She squinted, trying to make sense of her surroundings. The vivid brightness dimmed, revealing a vast room filled with ancient bookshelves, their tomes whispering secrets long forgotten. The air was thick with dust, the scent of old parchment mingling with a hint of something metallic blood. As she took tentative steps inside, the heavy door behind her slammed shut, echoing like a gunshot. Her heart raced, pounding in her ears. Panic threatened to claw its way back into her throat. She was trapped again, and the whispers from the gym now danced around her like shadows, teasing at the edges of her consciousness. Help them, a voice murmured, barely audible, sending shivers down her spine. It sounded like her grandmother, yet distorted, warped by despair. Ginny moved forward, drawn to a table at the center of the room, its surface covered with an unsettling assortment of items, objects from the past, relics of the school's sinister history. A tarnished silver locket caught her eye, its chain entwined with a broken pocket watch. She reached for it, but the moment her fingers brushed against the cold metal, visions surged in her mind. Her grandmother's voice rose, imbuing the images with life. They were trapped within the walls, Ginny. Each year, a piece of their soul was given. The price for our silence, for our legacy. The room darkened momentarily as if answering her internal turmoil, the shelves creaking under the weight of their secrets. Ginny staggered backwards. No, there has to be a way to break this. Suddenly, the books around her fell from the shelves, crashing to the ground, reverberating like thunder in the confined space. A swirling wind whipped through the chamber, slapping her face with an invisible force. They were angry, the souls, and Ginny was their last chance. She gathered her thoughts, determined. If my family has one chance to escape, she murmured, steeling her resolve, then I will face it. Her eyes darted around, searching for clues hidden in the chaos. Among the scattered volumes, one book lay open, its pages glimmering. The journal. She rushed to it, the writing trembling as if alive. There were entries, frantic scrawls detailing rituals, sacrifices, and desperate prayers for forgiveness. "Blood will bind or blood will sever," she read aloud, a chill creeping up her spine. "Which name will you write?" The words swam in her head, pounding against her skull, but she also felt an incomprehensible weight. The lives of the trapped souls rested on her choice. Was she ready to sacrifice her lineage to free them? "Choose wisely, Jenny." The voices converged, a chorus of pleading, despairing, and angered spirits swirling around her, the lights flickering erratically. Her heart thundered louder. Could she betray her family for their sins? But then who had she ever been? A distant memory flitted past, a young girl with visions, a promise of change. "No, I won't choose betrayal. I will choose compassion." With a deep breath, she grabbed a quill lying beside the journal, its tip stained dark red. A drop of her own blood filled the pen's reservoir, the ink bubbling with ancient power. She took a breath, each pulse echoing the past, the voices urging her on. In the rush of energy, she dipped the pen onto the page, writing down every name she could recall: her grandmother's, her own, and all those who had suffered because of the dark choices made before her. As the ink dried, the air shifted, the oppressive weight lifting slightly, giving momentary respite. The whispers transformed, now a soft hum, hopeful. But before she could feel joy, something sinister crept into the calm. A dreadful howl echoed, and shadows flickered around her. The atmosphere charged with danger, and she felt the space contracting, as if it was alive and angry that she had dared to defy it. "What have you done?" boomed a voice from the shifting darkness, cold and foreboding. "You cannot escape us so easily. Your choice binds you now." Jenny felt a shiver run down her spine. The escape she thought she had gained was slipping away again. How could she face the rage of the damned? What path lay ahead now that she had invoked their wrath? As the shadows closed in, she braced herself, ready to confront whatever horror awaited her. Would her choice save the lives intertwined with her fate, or was it a call for vengeance beyond imagination? The room trembled, and she could sense that the true horror was yet to come. The air crackled with energy, thickening as Jenny's senses sharpened. The shadows morphed, swirling restlessly. Fear clawed at her insides, but she couldn't back down now. "I've made my choice," she shouted into the darkness, her voice wavering. "I won't be your sacrifice." The presence lurking in the shadows shifted, a disembodied whisper. "Your blood is now our currency. The debts you've called forth cannot be repaid with mere ink." Before she could respond, the floor beneath her trembled. The walls conspired, a low hum reverberating that rose into a sinister chant, echoing the names Jenny had inscribed. The shelves rattled, books flinging themselves from their perches like angry birds. A cold wind howled, a cacophony of despair that felt almost alive, invading her thoughts. Jenny stumbled back, the world around her distorting. Faces pressed against the walls anguished, flickering in and out as if begging to escape their confinement. They reached out toward her, mouths agape in wordless cries. "Help us, free us," she clenched her fists, resolve hardening. "I can help you." But who would listen? They had been ignored for far too long. "Please tell me what to do." Waken the souls, the gallows, the stories buried, came the unending whispers, now sounding like her grandmother, beckoning. The voice was both loving and fraught with desperation. The air grew colder, chilling her bones. A swift movement caught her eye, a shadow darting past the door. It twisted and morphed until it began to take form, rising above her, malevolent and towering. "You think you have power, girl?" it hissed. "You have only awakened what should remain buried." Its breath washed over her, rancid and stale, reeking of decay. Jenny's heart raced, beating against her chest like a drum, signaling her impending doom. The creature loomed over her, its features obscured, but she could feel the eyes cold, unblinking, watching, feeding off her fear. "No!" Jenny screamed, her voice betraying her uncertainty. "I want to let you take me." She scrambled to her feet, looking around for something, anything to fight back with. Trapped in the center of the turmoil, she recalled the journal. Its pages still glimmered, still held the echoes of forgotten lives. With a surge of adrenaline, she rushed back toward the table, each step heavier than the last. The shadows followed her, a creeping wave threatening to swallow her whole. With trembling hands, she flipped through the journal, searching for guidance. There must be something, instructions, a way to release you. The book sparkled under her touch, the ink flowing as though alive once more. Write summon the forgotten. Set us free, or we take what you love. Panic exploded in her chest. What do you want? I can't lose anyone else. But the spirit, now manifesting into a twisted figure, began to shriek, thrashing in fury. Your family's burden is your burden. The souls you've summoned cannot be freed without a price. As the howls of the accursed intensified, frustration swelled within Jenny. She had taken the first step, but was it enough? Had she unwittingly signed her family's doom? Visions of her grandmother swirled in her mind, hopeful and proud. Stand tall, Jenny. You carry our legacy. You must decide. Legacy, she whispered, uncertain. The shadows quivered, then pressed closer, their howling now against her skin. What choice was there left? With bloodied ink and the echoes of her family's sins ringing in her ears, she stared at the glowing words on the page. There was something there, a fragment of power. Could one name change everything? The room felt like it was breathing, alive with the terror of consequence. She weighed her choices carefully, heart racing. But before she could make a decision, the room erupted in a shriek, the very essence of her ancestry crying out. Choose now. The shadows thundered, a visceral pulse against her skin. Fear gripped her, but the thought of her family drew her forward. I refuse to run, she shouted, her voice shaking the very timbers of the room. Time fractured, holding its breath, and as she stared into the depths of darkness, she wondered if her next words would seal her fate or set them free. Would she rewrite their past, or would their shared dread consume them all? The choice was upon her, and as her ink-stained fingers hovered above the page, Jenny realized the true horror was only beginning to reveal itself. A deafening silence fell, heavy and suffocating. Every heartbeat echoed in Jenny's ears, a frantic drumbeat against the silence. The shadows recoiled slightly, as if waiting, hinting at their eagerness. She could feel their presence coiling closer, drawn to her unease. What is this legacy? She breathed, her voice wavering. What price must I pay? The ink on the page seemed to writhe, forming new words, drawing her eye. The gallows must bear witness, blood for blood, heart for heart. A sharp chill crept up her spine, and she envisioned her family loved ones that had haunted her dreams. Were they to pay for her actions? Was this really what she had awakened? The shadows thrashed wildly, their whispers morphing into anguished cries. Each sound felt like needles piercing her skin. Jenny had no choice but to focus. Ice ran through her veins as she glanced into the darkness. The looming figure shifted, elongating, twisting into a semblance of her past. Your grandmother paid the price, the creature hissed, its voice curling around her. Now, it is your turn. You must tread the same path. Jenny felt her knees weaken, a wave of nausea crashing over her. No, I refuse to lose anyone else. Then bring forth the soul of your kin. A sacrifice must be made in blood. Images flooded her mind, a swing set beneath a fading sun, laughter echoing through the yard. But the laughter had faded, replaced by shadowed despair, the same despair she saw trapped along the walls. She gripped the journal tighter, knuckles white. I have to help you. I can't let this continue. Fool. The shadows screeched, a multitude of voices rising in chaotic harmony. You are but a pawn. You cannot rewrite a past stained in blood with mere words. The air condensed with dread, hot and biting. Jenny could feel the weight of her forebears pressing against her resolve, begging for liberation. The glowing words on the page began to burn into her mind, a path lined with torment and hysteria. The room twisted around her, mirroring her racing thoughts. Was she prepared to follow through with this? To offer up a piece of her family to appease these dark forces? No, she yelled, and the shadows howled, a cacophony that drowned her out. A flicker of hope burst within her. There had to be another way. Maybe she could reclaim the power they had stolen, reverse the curse that bound them. With quivering hands, she began to write again. I invoke the forgotten. I seek the truth of our legacy to set you all free. The moment the ink flowed into the words, the shadows convulsed, thrashing violently. A piercing shriek erupted, filling the air with a terror that resonated deep within her soul. Your family is bound to the darkness. It roared, inching closer. You stand to lose much more than you could gain." Ginny flinched. The faces around her pressed closer, their eyes wide and pleading, caught in the vortex of her pen strokes. She could feel their pain, the weight of their stories weighing down on her. Withdrawing her hand momentarily, she felt a flicker of doubt in her heart. What if she unleashed something worse? Would her resistance draw closer to disaster? The shadows recoiled for a brief moment, sensing her hesitation. "Choose wisely, Ginny," the entity urged, its voice cold and malicious. "The truth comes at a cost you cannot fathom." With one last glance at the beckoning shadows, Ginny made a choice that would rip through her very core. Taking a deep breath, she finished the sentence. "I choose to pour out my soul." To extinguish the darkness, the room erupted into a storm of chaos, the boundaries between past and present dissolving. The walls shook as if the very foundation of the building could not contain the ancient sorrow. As she invoked the final words, the ground shuddered, and shadows screeched their release. With that, her world spiraled into disarray. In that moment, she realized she had awakened more than just the spirits of her family. She had summoned their history, and the cost was unfolding before her like a haunting specter rising from the grave. What awaited her on the other side? Would the truth finally be revealed, or had she awoken something far worse? In the depths of this horror, the line between salvation and doom had blurred irrevocably. The shadows erupted, twisting and writhing like a living creature unleashed from centuries of confinement. Ginny stumbled backward, the journal slipping from her grasp, clattering onto the floor. She felt the air crackle with a charged energy, thick and suffocating, as if the weight of countless souls pressed against her chest. "Ginny," the voice echoed, familiar yet twisted, her grandmother's name morphed into a rasping whisper. "You've called us out, now face the legacy you've invoked." The shadows shifted and morphed into grotesque figures, wailing in agony. Faces that had long been forgotten, now twisted with rage and sorrow. Their features flickered between moments of clarity and madness. Each scream pierced her heart, drowning her in an ocean of despair. It was as if every loss she had ever endured congealed into the blackened tendrils, reaching for her. "What have I done?" she gasped, panic rising in her throat. "Only what was inevitable," the creature replied, now fully formed, towering over her. Its eyes glowed with a deep malevolence, voids that seemed to pull her in. "You cannot run from your past. Your blood is required." Suddenly the whispers transformed, forming distinct chants that echoed off the walls. "Sacrifice! Sacrifice! Blood for blood!" They rattled her bones. Ginny felt the floor beneath her pulse like a warning drum, an unholy heartbeat. "You can stop this," she whispered, shaking with adrenaline and dread. "You're all trapped. By the curse." "Trapped?" It laughed, a sound that scraped at her sanity. "You are the architect of your own misery. Set us free, or you shall remain with us forever." Her heart raced in a way that felt primal, instinct pushing her to flee from the scene. But where to? The shadows enveloped the room, thickening the darkness until even light became a myth. "Bring forth the soul of your kin," it murmured again, more seductive, coaxing as it reached out with a spindly hand. "Your grandmother paid her toll, now it is your choice." A flood of memories rushed through her warm afternoons, loving embraces, the scent of lavender lingering on her grandmother's skin. Would her love demand a price? The thought terrified her. "No," she screamed, the panic bubbling inside her like boiling water. "I will not offer anyone." But as she spoke, the shadows pressed forward, testing her resolve. They twisted into forms of her family, her parents, long gone and sorrowful, their eyes filled with unshed tears. "Help us, Ginny. Free us." Their pleas sunk deep into her core. She stepped back, her heart racing. "How do I free you? Tell me what to do." "Blood for blood," they intoned in a symphony of doom. The room vibrated, each word hanging heavy as if the universe held its breath. Ginny's skin prickled. She could feel the walls closing in, shadows thriving on her fear. "Think, Ginny. You're stronger than this," she urged herself, struggling to reclaim control. She reached for the journal, hands trembling as she attempted to grasp the uncertainty swirling around her. Her fingers brushed the cover, and a surge of warmth spread through her. Could words have power? They had to. With renewed determination, she opened the journal, scanning for answers. I command you, she shouted. Reveal the truth. The shadows recoiled momentarily, as if clustered in confusion. Had she forced a moment of clarity? Then, suddenly, one of the shadow figures lunged at her, its twisted hands closing around her throat. Her breath caught in her throat, and she clawed at salty darkness, gasping for air. Stop fighting, Jenny, it hissed, inches from her face, voice now dripping with fury. You cannot escape this reality. We are bound to share your burden. With her vision fading, desperation spurred her to act. She slammed the journal against the shadow's body, and as the ink spread from the pages, it entangled around the figure, freezing it in place. But even as it struggled, Jenny realized the truth she had sought remained just out of reach. What would happen next? Would she succeed in confronting the legacy or unleash even greater horrors? As the shadows writhed and the air thickened with anguish, Jenny felt the suffocating grip on her throat loosen, and yet the dark energy crackled with a rising fury, a warning that something far worse awaited her in the depths of this nightmare. What lay behind the next page? Would the truth finally shatter the curse or plunge her into the inescapable darkness forever? The journal, now darkened with the figure's essence, pulsed under her hand, a heartbeat syncing with her own. Jenny's breath came out in ragged gasps as she struggled to process the weight of her actions. She had forced the shadows to retreat, but their fury had only grown, swirling into a storm of rage threatening to consume her. Face your fate, Jenny, the creature's voice echoed, once again piercing her sanity. Your blood binds us, and soon, you too will understand our suffering. As Jenny gripped the journal tighter, her mind raced through its pages, searching for anything that could turn the tide. Each turn was met with bitter black ink that seemed to mirror the darkness swirling around her. Despair tightened its grip as she felt the primal terror radiating through the shadows, a malignancy born from the anguish of her ancestors. Your journey is a mirror, the shadows hissed. What you write will unravel the curse or seal your doom. Jenny could feel the temperature plummet, cold creeping up her spine. The words of an ancient incantation floated in her mind, fragments of her grandmother's tales about the dire price of invoking the spirits. She shook her head, knowing she could not invoke such horrors. Not now. Not ever. Let go of the past, child, cried a voice from the depths of the darkness. It sounded like her grandmother, yet twisted. It fuels this curse. Without it, they cannot touch you. But how do I release you? She screamed back, an echo of desperation pooling in the corners of the room. The shadows shifted, confused but still hungry for her despair. Sacrifice, they spoke in unison, a choir of despair echoing through her core. Sacrifice controlled Jenny's heart, thudded painfully in her chest. This was the moment where pain and sacrifice intertwined, where she had to choose her family's past over her own freedom. Suddenly, clarity struck her. Her instinct was right. The power of her lineage could be a weapon. The journal could become a protective shield or a harbinger of doom. It was up to her to decide its fate. Then I will write, she whispered, her voice trembling but resolute. I'll write our truth. I will tell your stories. The shadows writhed, a mixture of excitement and rage stirring within them. Pin your reckoning, Jenny, they urged, their voices a symphonic blend of urgency and threat. Let the ink flow, but know this: every word draws blood. Gripping the journal with both hands, Jenny felt a visceral connection to the pages. Her resolve hardened as she began to write. Each letter flowed effortlessly, but with every stroke, she felt a sharp pain, as though the shadows were feeding off her torment. Images of her past flashed before her like a film reel: the laughter of family dinners, the warmth of her grandmother, the piercing sadness of loss. The ink darkened with her anguish, anxieties blossoming into words, each letter charged with her pain and sacrifice. As she wrote, shapes began to take form within the ink, swirling into echoes of her loved ones, their faces reflecting pride and sorrow. Would her act of writing free them, or would it bind her to them eternally? The room trembled. A cacophony of wailing shadows surrounded her, desperate for release. She could feel the energy shift as the words she scribbled began to draw power. My words will breathe life into your memories, your truths. And with that proclamation, the shadows grew silent, falling into a stillness that felt almost eerie. For a brief moment, fear fell away as the energy around her vibrated, pregnant with anticipation. Then, all at once, the stillness shattered. A single figure emerged, towering above her, draped in shadows but with a visage eerily familiar. It was her grandmother, wreathed in darkness, eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. "You've chosen the path, child." Just before the moment shattered into chaos, Ginny realized the weight of her decision. Could she withstand the cost of inciting something far greater than she had anticipated? A piercing scream erupted from the shadows, drowning her thoughts, reverberating through her bones like a death knell. The ink on the page shimmered as the air crackled with the stirrings of her legacy. What would the next chapter demand? Would she emerge a savior, or had she merely unleashed a tempest of horrors far beyond her control? The shadows roared to life, thrashing wildly, swirling around Ginny in chaotic tendrils. She stepped back, her heart racing, adrenaline pumping through her veins like ice. The air turned thick, electric, charged with a palpable dread as her grandmother's presence loomed closer, its ethereal glow casting an unsettling light. "Remember, child," the familiar voice echoed, strained yet mournful. "The ink is not just ink, it is life and death entwined. You can't just play with it." Ginny's breath hitched. She pressed her hands to the desk, feeling the pulse of the journal beneath her fingertips, the very pages shifting as if alive. She threw a glance around the room. It felt like the walls themselves were breathing, each crack and shadow growling in hunger. "Free us," the creature-like voices whispered, echoing her deepest insecurities. Free them by embracing the darkness, the confusion twisted inside her. Freedom felt distant, unreachable. What if unleashing the truth meant sacrificing her own essence? Through gritted teeth, she forced herself to focus, gripping the journal tighter. Deep breaths, she needed clarity. "What do you want?" she demanded, her voice shaking but loud enough to pierce the chaos. The shadows paused, pulsating softly. "Tell me how I can help." "Your heart knows," they hissed in a chorus that sent chills racing down her spine. "Write with intent. Let the ink soak in your blood." The image of her grandmother floated ever closer, defined by sorrow and wisdom, yet enveloped in the darkness. "You must harness your strength, Ginny. The curse thrives on fear. Use it against them." She hesitated. Could she rewrite the cursed past? By forcing her hand upon that journal, had she already invited the fury of the shadows into her very soul? But her spirit flared at the thought of her family, their suffering. She could not let their pain rot in silence. Not now. Ginny inhaled deeply. She would throw her worst fears onto the pages. Death, betrayal, loneliness. Words swelled within her, ready to erupt. She pressed the nib of her pen onto the paper, feeling it pull at her skin, scraping the surface, drawing fragments of her very essence. With each stroke, the shadows recoiled. She could sense their hunger grow, closing in, feeding off her vulnerability. "You will not take me," she screamed as her heart thundered in her chest. The ink danced across the page, illuminating anew in erratic lines that seemed to pulse in response to her raw emotions. Faces materialized within the swirling darkness, her family, her friends lost to time, eyes wide with both terror and hope. "Stop!" A voice thundered, ripping through the air, fierce and commanding. It was her grandmother, but now it was more defined, more real. "You're losing control, Ginny. The ink demands its price." The words spilled out, each letter a sacrifice, a battle against the rising dread. The journal began to quake, shadows swirling against the light of her intentions, dark fragments attempting to snuff out her words. Ginny could feel her own blood boiling with every letter etched onto the page. A pull, a binding, and suddenly, darkness began to break. "What have you done?" A deep voice echoed from the shadows, now in disarray, as they battled her words. "This is not just ink, girl. You have made it your will," she cried out, clutching the journal, flickers of images shimmering around her. With each moment, she felt her essence tethering. Was it her spirit, or their chains making her lighter? "Embrace it," the shadows screamed, their desperation rising in pitch. "We shall consume you whole." But Ginny pressed on, determined, channeling the dark energy into her truth, binding it with her spirit. "You will not win," she shouted, resolute, her voice echoing back tenfold. Suddenly, the entire room erupted in a flash of shimmering light. The shadows bent, twisted, repulsed by her fierce will, as if recoiling from a flame. Yet, as the brilliance enveloped her, she felt it a rending sensation, something pulling taut. The chilling realization struck her. Though the shadows might be pushed back, she had opened a door she could never close. What did you unleash? A whisper sighed from the void, slithering, wrapping tightly around her heart. Jenny stood frozen in the radiant aftermath, uncertainty gnawing at her. Had she just unleashed a curse she couldn't contain? What truths lurked just beyond the veil, waiting for a chance to rise? The journal throbbed with an ominous rhythm, a heartbeat that promised change. What would they demand next? The price of light was a darkness that craved her very soul, and Jenny could feel its presence inching ever closer. The light faded slowly, retreating like a tide, leaving glistening foam on a forgotten shore. Jenny felt her heart thrumming in the silence, the echoes of chaos still ringing in her ears. The shadows writhed at the edge of her vision, but now they seemed less threatening, an angry storm waiting for another chance to spill over. Did I do it? She whispered, uncertain. Am I free? The journal lay untouched, its pages quivering slightly, as if they could still sense the trembling of her soul. She reached out cautiously, feeling a pulse of warmth emanate from it, a flicker of connection that brought back memories, faces of loved ones entwined with pain. With the ink previously soaked in her distress and fear, she roared with sudden strength, "You will not take me." Foolish girl, a voice slithered from the shadows, dripping with contempt. You think your truth can change the darkness? We are bound together, your blood, your lineage. Freedom comes at a cost you cannot comprehend. She flinched, but her resolve hardened like steel. Then so be it. I will not be your pawn. All around her, the shadows rumbled, the air thickening with a stench of betrayal. Wisps of dark energy lashed at her skin like thorns, and the whispers returned, a cacophony of despair, the trapped souls that had lingered far too long, begging her to understand their suffering. Release us, they cried, their voices desperate. But Jenny squeezed her eyes shut, forcing herself to think. Maybe I can't rewrite the darkness, she murmured, trembling, but I can try to embrace it. Maybe together, we can find balance. As her heart began to resonate with conviction, she felt the weight of the journal in her hands. I choose to bear my legacy, she declared, her voice a roar now, vanquishing doubt. I'll pen your truths, and my own, and with every word, we'll reclaim the light together. The shadows paused. A moment passed, heavy with expectation, and then, almost reverently, they whispered, guiding her gently towards the journal's pages. Write, Jenny, write. With renewed energy, she dipped her pen into the darkness of her experience. As she let the ink flow, the words transformed on the page, bursting forth with raw stories, tales of the lost, of fear, love, betrayal, and ultimately, reclamation. Water flowed in the desert of her family's history, embracing the reality instead of cowering from it. With every stroke, the tension loosened like a noose as the oppressive weight of the past lifted, revealing glimpses of light breaking through the darkness. The voices around her, no longer just screams of anguish, became whispers of hope, coaxing her on. I release you, and myself, she wrote fervently. We break the cycle of blood and misery, emerging into a dawn of understanding. The shadows wailed, not in anger but in acknowledgement. The entire room felt as if it was vibrating to her words. The very air shimmered with the energy of stories being told, the past and present intertwining, an endless cycle of hope, pain, and resilience. As she finished the last sentence, the journal erupted in light like a wildfire, illuminating every corner of the room. The shadows moved, swirling around her as if caught in a dance, their furious energy giving way to something otherworldly, magical. Change comes through acceptance. Jenny, her grandmother's voice resonated, strong and clear, ensconced now in the brilliant light. Jenny felt a weight lift from her shoulders, a sense of unity with souls long trapped in sorrow. They weren't just figures in a nightmare. They were a part of her, woven through her blood and memories. The darkness began to dissolve, fragility mingling with the dawn. Around her, the figures emerged, familiar faces shimmering with purity. The ghastly cries faded, replaced by a nourishing chorus of gratitude. "Thank you," they whispered, setting her heart alight. "You have freed us, and in doing so, freed yourself." As the last shred of darkness slipped away, Ginny felt an overwhelming sense of peace. She was no longer a prisoner of Ridgeview's haunted halls. She was her family's legacy, a conduit for their stories, a beacon for others who faced the darkness within. The journal, still warm in her hands, now felt like a cherished memory, a promise made to carry forward. As twilight descended over Ridgeview, she turned to leave, the echoes of past sorrows now a gentle hum behind her. The weight of the burdens once strapped to her heart had transformed into wings that guided her forward. But before she left, she paused one last time, glancing back. "Rest in peace," she murmured. "You'll forever be part of my story." With that, she stepped out of the shadows, the air clearer, the past accepted, resolved. Ginny embarked into the light of a new day, ready to share not just her story, but the countless others entwined with hers. There would be struggles ahead, but shadows no longer frightened her. She was anchored in the truth. Make sure to join us on this journey. If you want to hear more stories that dive deep into the shadows and light, you need to subscribe now. Smash that like button to feed the algorithm and show your support. Flood the comments with your thoughts and reactions, share your theories about what Ginny will face next. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support is the fire that fuels our storytelling.